Hey, this is Jim Gillette from Nitro, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast. Thank you.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois. Soon to be coming back to downtown Davenport, Iowa, July 17th. We would like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Jim Gillette of Nitro.
What a great interview.
Yeah.
Hey, let's not beat around the bush. Let's get to this interview.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Ready.
All right. Jim, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Hey, Jim. This is Jeff. Nice to talk to you tonight.
Hello, sir. How are you this fine evening?
Good.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for all the correspondence we've done by email to get this all set up. All right. Well, let's get right into this then. With COVID-19 crippling the world this past year, what have you been up to?
Working. Lots of work. And it's been difficult because of COVID.
Absolutely. As far as your work in the real estate developing and what have you, but in the realm of rock and roll, have you been doing anything as far as business ventures go that end of things?
Yeah, what happened? I think last week I got an email. They want to use Freight Train in a new Netflix TV series or something.
Oh,
so
awesome.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Extremely cool.
And something that blew my mind, I just got on Spotify like 2-3 weeks ago. I've never been on Spotify until then. And somebody told me that a lot of people listen to Nitro on Spotify, so I checked it out, and it blew my mind. Every month, take a guess how many people listen to Nitro only on Spotify every month.
I'm not really good with those numbers because I'm still a guy that plays the vinyl. But go ahead, shoot to us. Give us the numbers.
314,000 people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fantastic.
I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely blown away.
See, even still to this day, Nitro is relevant.
It's weird. We're like this cult thing, you know?
Absolutely. Well, before we get into the whole rock and roll biz thing, you and your sons are students of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Can you talk more about your origins into the mixed martial arts and what kind of brought you there?
Boy, I've done that forever. I was wrestling by 5. I grew up in Nebraska, born and bred in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only a couple of things you do as a young man in Nebraska growing up, and it's either football or wrestling. I did both. But I was crazy with wrestling. My uncle was a Pan American champion, and he helped get defectors from like Russia and places like that to come wrestle for the U.S. Olympic team. So he was kind of a big influence. And God, I was cutting weight at 5 years old. I'm wondering when they're going to let me out of the sauna.
Well, as far as the origins of the jiu-jitsu portion of your discipline and studies, how did it all start?
I boxed forever, then I wrestled forever, then I boxed. I actually, right before the second Nitro tour, I was scheduled for my first pro fight in boxing, and it was a thing where I told Mike, listen, if we tour, because we weren't sure what was going on. The president of our label left. He went to SBK, and Rhino didn't know what to do without him. So we kind of thought, hey, it may just implode. So I started boxing, and I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks away from when we left on the second tour. And then I fought, on the streets. I was homeless and, growing up in Hollywood at 17. And I've just always been into martial arts and that. So when we started going, we lived in the Turks and Caicos for years. My sons were raised there. And when we started going to Miami, I'd been doing some research and found the Valente brothers, who are basically Gracies. Their dad was best friends with Elio, the guy who created it, and he was also the family physician. So Pedro, Guy, and Joaquin Valente, they kind of grew up with Uncle Elio. And while he was still alive, he'd come and spend a couple of times a year, 2 weeks, with the Valentes. So anyway, I thought, hey, if we're going to be going to Miami, I want to get my boys into jiu-jitsu, because they weren't going to school, so there was no schooling, school. There was no boxing in the islands. So I thought, let's do jiu-jitsu. And they kind of picked up on it like fish in water. Next thing I know, our entire life is kind of dedicated to that.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It was super cool. James is 24 now, and there's a handful of people on this planet that'll whoop him on the mats. Literally just a handful. And that's not an exaggeration. He's a world champion as a teen.
Oh,
and
cool.
Rocco, he's a maniac. He started, James was 5 when he started, and Rocco was 2. I've actually got video of Rocco and James with Elio playing and sparring with him and all sorts of cool stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
As far as your eldest son, is he going to get involved with any of the mixed martial arts as far as any of those fighting clubs?
Both of them are kind of on the edge of the plank. James has got back problems. He was... When I say it was our life, guys, I don't think you quite comprehend it. I mean, we moved all over the country to study with different people. My sons have trained with Howard Davis Jr., rest in peace, brother. Great friend of mine. He was an Olympic gold medalist, 76 Olympics. When the Dream Team was there, him and the Spinks brothers and all the cool Sugar Ray Leonard. And Howard was actually named Boxer of the Games that year. And
nice.
Oh, very good. Let's kind of switch gears here.
Accomplishment. What an accomplishment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They trained with him. We moved to Vegas for a while so they could train with the Mayweathers. They were actually invited to train with the Mayweathers. That was kind of special. We've been in Oklahoma City with Rafael Lovato Jr. and his father. Vegas. James was actually on the payroll at Vanderlei Silva's gym in Vegas. He taught the Ju Jitsu class when he was 16. And, God, where else have we gone? They went to New York for a summer to train with, God, he's going to kill me if I forget his name. Oh, shit. Jason. Shoot. Anyway, he's like a 2 or a 3-time Olympian in judo. So they trained there. They've trained a lot with Robert Drysdale Jr. We've gone all over the place for it. So Miami's home. That's where their base is, and then we've kind of gone all over, just picking up little things from everybody. So it's pretty cool. They're both on the edge of the plank. I think that they're going to end up fighting, but I don't know. I tell them do what they want to do and just be happy.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. I want to kind of switch gears on you just to hear for a minute. You've been involved with the real estate investing for over 30 years now. How has the business changed since when you first started?
Oh, boy. Hadn't really changed. It just kind of depends on my mood, how big of projects I want to tackle. God, I've done probably 500 houses, bought and sold 500 plus houses. I've built probably 2 dozen houses. I built a 12-unit apartment complex. I developed in the Turks and Caicos Islands 4 subdivisions. One's got 4 miles of seawall. We built canals and bridges, and that was a huge one. And I don't want to do that anymore. It's like, a couple of years of your life is nothing but. So I've been doing houses. I did a beach house in Florida, right on the beach. That was kind of cool. It was a big job, just me and my father. And God, that was just shy of 4,000 square feet. We added 4 bathrooms. We added 3 bedrooms. It was a big job, but not so big that it was my entire life. So right now, getting to be an old man, I'm doing smaller projects and just going a little easier. There was a time where I worked 3 years in a row, not one day off, a minimum of 17 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a grind, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jeff,
I was just going to ask you, when you're around the jiu-jitsu and the martial arts so much, do you have an inkling for martial arts movies, or do those turn you off because you're around it too much?
I like it. It's they're 2 different things. One thing's to look cool for the camera, and the other thing's the real deal. But yeah, I like them.
Oh, cool. All right, now enough of this talk about other stuff. Let's get into the music and the things here.
Okay.
If that's good with you, man. So
yes.
This upcoming winter, you're planning on a return to the studio to record some new music. Can you talk more about this new music endeavor?
God, it's nothing great, nothing crazy, nothing earth-shattering. A buddy of mine, hey, maybe it will come out great. He's in Arizona. I went to high school with him, and we've been, friends since then. And he just hit me up and said, "You want to make an album?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So it'll be, an album worth of songs. I don't think we'll go to release it or anything. We might put it out on the net or something, but just stuff for fun. I do it now for me. I don't want to make a living off music anymore. It kind of takes the fun out of it.
Well, you got to make
if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Jeff and I here, we're like the we still buy the tangible product. So when you put that stuff out on electronical and we can't touch it and read it and feel it, we're kind of bummed out. So you got to put it out on something, can't you? Please, pretty please.
You know what? I've talked to some other guys, some pretty cool players, because this stuff will be very different. My buddy Brian, he's a pretty mellow dude. God, I don't know how to describe this stuff. Kind of light stuff that you'd hear on the radio. So it's rock, but kind of old rock, but God, I don't even know who to say. Tom Petty.
That works.
Yeah.
The Traveling Wilburys. I don't know. It's just different. And then you got my crazy voice on it, so I don't know.
Let's kind of switch gears here and kind of go back in time.
Yeah.
In 2001, you were the co-founder of Organ Donor, recorded the album The Ultraviolent. Can you talk more about the origins of that band and why did that band fly under the radar?
That was never really a band, and that was another friend called me, said, "Hey, you want to make some music?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm working." He's like, "Dude, I'll send you the stem files through the internet. You can record at home." I'm like, "Well, that sounds fun. What's the music like?" He said, "Heavy, man." I said, "Okay, let's do it." And that was a guy named James, and the bass player is named Chris, and they had a band way back in the day. I'm going to test your musical, depth.
Okay.
Do you guys remember in the 80s a band called Animal House?
I do not.
No.
They got a big deal, and right when they got their deal, they started recording. Their singer, became a heroin addict or something. I'm not sure. And it killed the whole thing. And I was trying to help get them signed because I loved their band. I mean, I used to play people one of their songs. She Goes. It was called She Goes Up or something. And I'd say, this is an old AC/DC demo before Bon died. Check it out. And every single person thought it was Bon Scott. Like, when I told them it wasn't, they didn't believe me. So, it was like, I think Bon possessed that kid. I mean, every little inflection, and I don't think the guy was trying. It just how he'd sing. It was wild. And I was a huge Bon Scott fan, still am. And I think he's one of the greatest rock metal singers there's ever been. Not talent he couldn't hit the notes I hit, but damn, his voice was cool. I mean, anything he could sing the Yellow Pages and make it sound cool.
With that being said, though, thoughts on a lot of our listeners might not even realize that band and that album that you were part of exists. Was there any high hopes to maybe cash in on a bigger label for that album, or how did it all work?
No. I was when they called me, I had just bought a bunch of land in the Turks and Caicos, and I bought it, but part of the deal was I didn't have to close on it until I got subdivision approval. I bought 35 acres, and we made 35 lots. And 18 on the beach, 17 behind the beach. And it took 2 years to get it approved. So I was sitting there for almost 2 years. I was on the phone for 8 hours a day, but besides that, I wasn't real busy. And so it was perfect timing. And as I was almost done with that, I actually moved to the Turks and Caicos Islands. So there was no way I could have toured or anything like that. I was making too much money.
Oh, very good. Jeff, you got the next one?
Let's go back to, with Nitro. Can you talk a little bit about the music video for Freight Train, and can you talk about Nitro's experience with making music videos?
Yeah. God, that was a guy named John. I think it was John Say. Super cool dude, old biker guy. And the record company, you remember the times. I mean, if you didn't basically look like a chick, you weren't getting signed. And so the record company kind of forced us to go crazy on that, the look. And then we, on the second one, and live, I don't know if you guys ever caught us live, but I was in jeans and T-shirts with my hair flat, sometimes in a baseball cap. It was like, you can make us do it for the video. And it was cool. I mean, I dug it because it was like serious musicians that look like chicks. So kind of the shock thing was fun, but we wanted to, do our real thing, which was jeans and T-shirts, and I didn't wear makeup live. I didn't do any of that live.
Yeah.
And then on Long Way From Home, we'd sold about 10 times more than they thought we were going to sell, so they didn't give us any shit,
Yeah.
Well, since we're on,
let me elaborate. From what I hear, I think they said Metallica got picked up when they moved 40,000 albums on Metal Blade.
Yeah.
I was told halfway through the second tour when we were on Long Way, which almost broke at mainstream radio with nobody pushing it, which was pretty wild. I was told we moved 100,000 units halfway through the Long Way From Home video, and I know there was a lot of majors trying to buy us out. I actually had the president of Chrysalis call me right when the second album was done, and he said, "We tried to buy you out, but they thought, but Rhino thinks you're the Beatles." I said, "What?" and I think that what they wanted to do was because Bob Cahill had just went to SBK, who was the rock guy over there, because he was gone. I think they were shopping it, but what happened was everybody wanted to pick us up because, I don't know, not many bands back then, maybe today, I don't know, I haven't kept up with it, but to move 100,000 units on an indie label was like unheard of.
Yeah.
So Chrysalis, there was a couple other ones, but Chrysalis, I knew the guy pretty good, and he's like, dude, he said, we wanted to take the album, we were gonna, they'd recoup their money, then they'd get so many points, we'd get so many points. We just wanted to work the album for them because we knew they couldn't work it. And they said, okay, great, plus $1 million. Damn. They think we're the Beatles.
Speaking of Nitro, can we talk a little bit about the debut album, the OFR album?
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about the whole writing and recording process of that album?
Sure. I had hired Mike to play on my solo album. Let me think. When I was 18, I did the singing lessons that annoy everybody so much, and actually that make people laugh. And that was the goal. I was trying to act like a goober because I don't know if you guys have ever tried to learn how to sing, but it is the most boring thing on the planet.
Yeah.
You don't learn how to sing by singing your favorite AC/DC tune.
Right.
You do scales, and I was classically trained in opera, so it is boring. Okay. Very boring. So we're writing. I wanted to do a solo album because the lessons kind of went berserk, and I was selling more lessons than I knew what to do. And I got Mike. I met Mike at a barbecue in Venice Beach, and we were living at a lady's house, Cherie Adams. And she was the hair magic lady. She did all the extensions for all the rock stars. And we were hanging out, and she had told me all about him, and I'd heard a couple of his songs, and I thought, Jesus, this guy's freaking nuts, man. And she's like, yeah, but he can do it left-handed, right-handed, upside down, backwards, standing on his head. It's like, okay. So I said hello to him at that barbecue, and he didn't say hi. And I went over to Cherie and I said, Cherie, if he doesn't say hello to me, I'm going to beat his guitar playing ass right here. And so she went over and grabbed him, and he apologized. He hadn't heard me, and he'd actually seen my band playing. And anyway, that was when I was in Tuff.
Mm-hmm.
He saw Tuff play, and I told him I was doing a solo album. Would he be interested in playing on it? And he said, hell yeah. And I wrote the album with a guy named Ralph Carter, who was Eddie Money's bass player. He wrote the song Shakin'. He was a great dude. I loved Ralph. And when Ralph and I got the songs finished and kind of sort of demoed out as good as we could, we brought Mike in. And while we were, doing that, we just kind of developed a friendship, and we started writing. And we started writing all his songs. Freight Train was the first song we wrote. And he asked me, hey, do you mind if I play this live? And I'm like, no, I don't care, because he had his band. And what happened was all the records, he was shopping deals trying to get his band signed. And what happened was all the labels, when they would get his tape, they'd call him and say, hey, what are you doing with Gillette? And he's like, hey, what about my band? Hey, what do you and Gillette do? And so I came to him and I said, hey, dude, I got this band that I want to do. I don't want to go out as a solo guy. I'm going to call it Nitro. Are you in? And he said, yeah. That was it. So then, we just wrote. I mean, we wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. We probably got, I don't know, a couple hundred songs. Mm. And probably 180 of them are better than the ones you've heard. Who knows? Who knows, man? It's like, God dang. I mean, how many times you heard, like, Nazareth didn't want to do Love Hurts? It was a demo or something. I mean, That's one of my favorite songs of all time, man.
Right.
So who knows, We got lots of songs, let's just say that.
Well, and, that being said, the follow-up to OFR, Hot, Wet, Drippin' with Sweat, didn't seem like it got the audience attention as much as the debut album. Did you feel like the record label was kind of sliding you guys a little bit on the second album?
Yeah, they did, and we knew they were, and that's why I almost became a pro boxer. They literally didn't know what to do, and he was the guy. Bob Cahill was the guy. When we got signed, we called him up, and he said, yeah, I've heard of you guys. I see Gillette all over the magazines with his lessons, and I've seen your Starlix video, blah, 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 blah. Send me a tape. And I said, no. If you want to hear us, we're coming into your office. And he said, you got balls. I said, yeah, you can call it balls. You can call it, I don't care what you call it. You want to hear us? And he said, yeah, I want to hear you. Come on down. He gave us the address. We went down there. And we had a 4-song demo. Freight Train was on it. Nasty Reputation was on it. Prisoner of Paradise was on it. And Heaven's Just a Heartbeat Away. And we thought, Heaven's Just a Heartbeat Away. It sounds like a radio ballad, like a pop ballad. Have you guys ever heard that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you dig it?
Oh, yeah.
I dig the whole entire debut album, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Heaven's Just a Heartbeat, that's one that didn't make it on. I think that one, I like that song better than Long Way From Home. So who knows, But we put on Heaven's Just a Heartbeat Away, and he shut it off, and he looked pissed. He said, what is this shit? I stood up like, let's throw down, motherfucker. Yeah. And he said, you guys are supposed to be these badasses. I want to hear something that'll blow my fucking mind. And I said, okay, turn the tape over, asshole. And when he heard the first scream of Freight Train, he jumped up on his desk and started rocking out an air guitar. Okay? He's the president of the label's on top of the desk, air guitar. And he said, you got more like this? And we said, yeah, bunches of them. And he said, would you like a record deal? And I said, I don't know. He said, what? And I said, I don't know. Sent an offer to Al Schlesinger. Al was my attorney. And Al was a killer dude, man. I think he just passed away recently, and I was really, really kind of broken up over it. He took me when I was 18 years old, and he became my attorney, even though I was nothing, and he was a big shot. He was a big shot. And actually, Al was the manager. Do you guys remember the band Bread?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was Bread's manager.
Oh, wow.
And Bread had a song that was banned from the radio. Not for lyrics. For the sexual beat. Al got so pissed off, he went to law school and became an attorney. I believe he was president of the Grammys in the 80s. He was a great guy. And so Cahill sent them the offer, and we talked about it. And I said, do we hold out for a major label or do we take this? And Al said, well, he said, major labels got more money, yada, yada, yada. But sometimes bands get lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get anybody behind you. He said, how do you feel about this guy? And I said, well, shit, when he heard the scream of Freight Train, he jumped up on his desk, started, air guitaring and rocking out and banging his head. And he said, is he into you guys? And I said, yeah. He says, we're like the coolest thing he's ever heard. And he said, you might want to think about it, you know? And we went with them, and we were glad we did. Bob was cool. He was a great guy. He's the one that came up, I think, with I Survived Nitro Live, and we had these little earplugs. But boy, was he sorry he came up with... Oh, and his thing was the highest, the fastest, the loudest. That was his thing, too. And so because he put loudest, I made damn sure we were the loudest. We rented a turbo PA system, the same system that had gone out with Iron Maiden, like the season before or something, the summer before. And we're putting it in clubs as small as, 300 people. It was in Detroit, the plaster came off the ceiling. It was falling down, cutting people. Seriously, it shake. In Cleveland, Ohio, we played a place called Peabody's. We used both systems there, their system and the turbo system. There was a grocery store like half a block away. All the shit was falling off the shelves and breaking on the floor. It was like a damn earthquake.
Yeah.
So he comes to New York, and we played the Cat Club, which at the time was like, Guns N' Roses played the Cat Club. Warrant played like the week before. And we get there, and we've got the turbo system, and there was, a couple of dozen fans there hanging out with us, and while we were sound checking the stuff, and they're like telling us, dude, you're going to get bottled tonight. I said, what? He said, yeah, there's kind of this rivalry going on, East Coast, West Coast, and last week, Warrant got bottled off the stage, man. They got cut. And I'm like, no shit. They're like, yeah, man. And so I told our sound man, a guy named Lee Pepper, I said, Lee, because the record company was giving us heat by now because we were getting a lot of complaints from the clubs. Their glasses breaking, throughout the night, glasses falling off the bar and tables because the tables and bar was shaking so bad you just kind of throw the glasses off. So Bob's telling us to turn it down that night, and I said, Bob, I thought I'd never hear those words come out of your mouth, man. He's like, no, man, we're just, just enough so we don't get any heat. You're still the loudest. I'm like, when I heard about the bottles, I said, Bob, you said we were the loudest. We're going to be the loudest tonight. He's like, all right. So Lee hooked up both systems at the Cat Club. The Cat Club system was good. Ours was way better. We had them going both at the same time. I hear, Jim. I'm outside right in front of the club. I'm looking around. Jim, over here. I'm looking. He said, look down. I see Lee Pepper in the sewer. He's, in the little slit between the street and the sidewalk.
Yeah.
He's sticking his head through there. He's like, yeah, man, they didn't have enough power. I'm wiring into the main. Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
He's in the sewers of New York at the Cat Club wiring into the main. Okay? So KO comes. The place is packed. It took 15 seconds to get from the kind of side of the stage to get to the dressing room from the door that we came in at sound checks. When we got there that night, it took us 30 minutes. Okay? It was you couldn't fit a number 2 pencil in there. Packed. And I'm thinking, I'm guessing, I'm kind of a realist. Okay, half of these people are here because they love us. Half of them want to kill us with bottles.
Yeah.
So I said, Lee, when my scream hits in Freight Train, because we opened up with that, I said, my goal is to make all the bottle throwers run in pain.
Yeah.
No shit, guys. About a third of the crowd ran, left. We did not get one bottle thrown at us that night. They figured, we ain't sitting through this to throw a couple of bottles, man. This is hurting. Guys, I would watch people's hair, because everybody had their hair sticking up.
Yeah.
It looked like a fan was on it every time the kick drum hit. I swear to you, I would see girls in the crowd, and I swear to you, their boobs were bouncing as much as if they were jogging in place from the kick drum. My feet would be numb by the end of the show because it shook the stage so much. Literally numb. Like, when your foot's asleep and it feels like needles going in it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how my damn feet would feel by the end of the show. So yeah, we were loud.
Oh, so cool.
Very, very loud.
Yeah.
Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, I'm just thinking about all these songs you said you had. Have you guys thought about releasing any unreleased material from Nitro?
You know what? Most of it, the stuff that we actually demoed out, I put a couple of things on when Stevie, Rochelle, re-released Proud to Be Loud.
Yes.
Bitch on My Back. That was one. I don't know. Have you guys heard Do You Want To?
I have not.
No.
Okay, that's kind of demoed. Most of our stuff was like not even demoed really at all. You know, it would just be Mike with a guitar and me singing.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's not really a whole lot left that we can share. There was some stuff. God, there was some great stuff. You Broke My Heart in Two. That song, I don't know why we didn't do that one or release that one, but it was kind of like Long Way From Home on steroids and music degrees.
Yeah.
It was a bluesy ballad, but I was going all over the place. I think I spanned 5 octaves on that song, like kind of all of them. It was all over the place and a lot bluesier than you've ever heard me sing. It was a great song. That got lost, destroyed. Mike had a flood in his basement in Wisconsin, and a lot of those. We were in the studio. God, right after we signed with Rhino, there was all these record companies now that want to sign us, and we're already signed. Actually, Gene Simmons. We spoke to Gene, and remember when he had his label thing going?
Yes.
And we talked to him for about 30 minutes. We went to his house. We hung out, and he's like, "Why are you calling me? You already have a label." I'm like, "Yeah, shit." So we couldn't do that. We had a manager. I'm not going to say his name, but this was a huge guy and of questionable background. Let's just put it that way. And we had this management contract with him, and he said he was going to, I will make you platinum. Like, how you going to do that? And he said, well, I tell David Geffen, I tell David that he spend $1 million on you, I spend $2 million. And I said, okay, that sounds possible. Yeah. Spend a whole lot of money, yeah. You can make somebody platinum. And we got the record or the management contracts negotiated. And while we're negotiating, it took like 6 months. He was throwing down $2,200 a day for us to be in a recording studio.
Oh, wow.
6 months, man.
Yeah.
We had so many tunes demoed out. One of them was "Gunning for Glory." You probably heard that one. That was just a quick demo we did during that time. Have you heard that one?
I have not.
No.
Mike put it out.
Okay.
God, I think there was another one from there. God, we had this song called "All I Want Is You." I thought that one was huge. We have somewhere that's around. That would be one that I would like to see, get released so people could hear.
Yeah.
Tons of them, man. I mean, so many. Bang Bang. We had one called Bang Bang. That one, I don't know why it didn't make it on the second album. That was a little more in the Freight Train vein. Lots of, vocals moving around and stuff, kind of the sweet thing. It was kind of a cross between Sweet and Clean that I wanted to make my backgrounds like. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. I have one last question for you before we let you go for the night. I know we've taken a lot of your time, but I wanted to touch upon the roots of Tuff. Yeah. Many of our listeners may not realize your origins with Tuff with those first 2 EPs. Can you talk more about your time and the origins of Tuff?
Yeah, I was homeless in LA. I'm going to say 6 months, something like that. And I landed a gig. It was very hard to get in the band. God, remember Driver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. I had a shot to be in Driver that I didn't know about because I was homeless. I met a friend. He said I could use his grandma's phone number. I got the message like 3 weeks after they left. I ended up talking to him because the band I got in practiced right next to him, and they're like, "Oh shit, man, we've already got a singer, man. Why didn't you call us back?" And I told him the story, and it was kind of fun, kind of disappointing. But I ended up in a band with a guy named Billy King. He played guitar with Alice Cooper, and he had all the songs written. And I went there to audition. I sang one of their songs, and I asked him, I said, "Can I do it like I'd do it instead of, like your guy? He can't go high." And he said, "Yeah, do whatever you want." And so the original singer had I'll call it a scree, because it wasn't a real scream. He was trying.
Yeah.
He was trying. So I said, that intro scream, can I, make it mine? And he's like, "Yeah, make it yours." So the song starts out, and it's kind of like Freight Train. Just a couple seconds in, there's this scream. And so I did a scream, and they stopped playing. And they said, "Can you give us a minute?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Yeah, I mean outside." And I said, "Sure." They came out about 30 seconds later. "If you want the job, you're in." I said, "Could I sing the whole song first?" So we went through the song, and they said, "Come on, man, say yeah." And I said, "Give me a couch to sleep on, and you got to sing it." So I was singing with them. I wasn't real thrilled with them. They were kind of old school rock, and they were all a bunch older. And every time we played out, people were trying to steal me, and agents were telling me to get in a new band, and blah 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 blah. And I had a friend come from Phoenix to see me. And he got off the bus. He took the bus from LAX to Hollyweird, and he got off right by the Chinese Man Theater. I am literally standing in front of the door. Okay.
Yeah.
He looked me dead in the eye and walked right past me. I said, "Matt." He turned around, looked right at me, and was looking for me. That was right in the beat, right when I landed that gig. I weighed 135 pounds. When I say I was skinny, guys, I was days away from death skinny. Okay. My son is skinny as a rail, and he has my build. My youngest, he's 20 in a couple of weeks. He's skinny as all get out. He weighs 160 pounds. I was 135, guys. I'd be walking down the sidewalk. I'd just pass out. Okay. Stand back up, keep going. Luckily, I never passed out during a fight. That could have been dangerous. But he said, "Can I give your number to Michael Raimondo?" And I said, "I ain't got a number." "Give me a friend's number, something." So he called me up. I called him back from my friend's house. He said, "Hey, dude, you want to sing for Tuff?" And I said, "Dude, I'm in L.A. I came to L.A. to do this, to make it." And he's like, "Dude, come back. We'll play a couple of shows, and we'll move to L.A." And I said, "Let's do it." So I went back to L.A. We practiced for a couple of months, wrote for a couple of months, did some shows in Phoenix. And, true to his word, he's a great guy, Michael Raimondo, drummer for Tuff.
Yeah.
And we moved out to California. I think I only played 2 shows, maybe 3. First one was at the Country Club. It was for 3 people, not including the help. Are you guys familiar with that scene back then?
Oh well, we're from Illinois, so all we could do is what the magazines and MTV back then.
Okay, so the pay to play thing, right, was in full effect.
Yeah,
and there'd be 5 bands in a night sometimes. The guy that went on first only had to sell 25 tickets at $10 a piece. Well, no kidding. There were a million bands in LA. So you'd buy 25 tickets and you'd give them away because, we gave away 25 tickets. We got 3 people. Yeah. They were free tickets.
Yeah.
It was like, why do I want to go to the Country Club in Reseda all the way in the Valley when I can go see 18 bands in Hollywood?
Right.
We played for 3 people that night, and what happened though, and we got big overnight because after the show, the bass player Todd came up to me and said, "Dude, this guy just called me a fag." And And I said, point them out and I'll take care of it. So I said, hey, dude, I said, this is my friend. I said, you need to, like, leave him alone and don't mess with him. And he said, fuck you, dude, I'll kill you. And I said, well, let's go outside and do it. Now, you guys are thinking I was being, I don't know, respectful to the club. No, there was 3 people in the club. I wanted everybody to see the ass whooping I was about to dish out, okay? Because here's what they would do. The bands that would play after, their people would not go on until you were done. Because they didn't want the club to think they were there to see you. So we go outside, and I was shocked. You know, I thought there might be 100 people out there. Yeah, there was like 1,500 people, 2,000 people. Oh, geez. We go into the middle of the street, and I said, listen, man, I don't need to hurt you. I just don't want you to hurt my friend. And he swung at me. And in front of 1,500, 2,000 people, I gave the guy the good news, okay? I gave the guy the really, really good news. And full mount, beating the hell out of him. A security guard from the country club grabbed me real hard from behind just to pull me off him, okay? But I thought it was one of his friends. Yeah. So I backhanded the security guard, knocked him out, okay? So now there's a guy unconscious in the middle of the street, and one of the country club's big dude, security guards, knocked out in the middle of the street. With 1,500 people that just missed our show because they were being assholes. Yeah. And everybody's looking, and I said, Tuff, we're playing like next Friday at wherever it was, the Troubadour. Yeah. Tuff. And listen, and our 3 fans flyered everybody, okay? Gave everybody flyers. When we played the Troubadour, you couldn't fit anything in it was packed. So the ass whooping, all of a sudden, Tuff is selling out the Troubadour second show. That's awesome. Oh, let me tell you one more fun thing. Yeah. Nitro's first show, Gazzari's on a Thursday night. I'm not putting us, guys, I'm not saying we're anything like Van Halen, okay? I'm not comparing us at all. But the promoter said we broke Van Halen's attendance record, and it was on a Thursday night. We took all the money. We got Nitro got paid from the first show. Okay, we made $2,000 for our first show, which was pretty cool because usually you pay $250 to $500 to play. Yeah. But we took that whole $2,000 and we took a double page ad in BAM magazine. And basically it said, it had a picture of our logo at the time, which was a double guitar behind a shattered wine glass. And said something to the effect of, come see Gillette, shatter glass with his voice live. And when we went back after sound check, there was a line that was about 3 blocks long to get in. So it was pretty cool. It was really cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are out of our allotted time. Before we let you go, is there anything that you would like to promote or plug that you got, that, like I said, the new music that you're going to be recording this winter? Is there anything that you would like to promote in regards to that?
No, just be good to one another.
Yeah. Very good.
The world is a crazy, crazy, crazy place. Be good. Be good.
Absolutely. So this is how it's going to work. We have a few episodes to release before yours, so we're looking at about 3 weeks before this episode is released. And when it's Jeff, the editing wizard over here, is done editing it in the 3rd week, I'll send it to you immediately. Does that sound good?
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys.
Have a good night. I'll be in touch with you in about 3 weeks.
All right, man.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
grip of fear. You can make your dreams come true, but you just can't do it here. Hey. Everybody eyes the gun and screams inside their head. Everybody bites their tongue and pays their bills instead. Hide in the spotlights, fight the grip of death. You can have the air you need, but you best not take one breath. Hey. Roll the dice. Take your chances. Everybody knows the game is fixed, there is no prize. Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out